live. Let me jump in. Oh, I'm going to kick you out for a second here, Ian. There we go.
Yeah.
You're out. All right. All right. So we are live. Jeremy Knights with the Knight Group, your favorite Austin realtor. I have an awesome guest tonight on the channel. His name is Ian, at Ian of Austin. I'll bring him on in a second. So tonight we are going to do an epic battle of North versus South Austin. This is questions I get constantly, and most people ask are, where do I live, when they're looking at moving to Austin, either north, south. They want to look at different suburbs. My camera colors are off today. I'm sorry. So I'm going to bring Ian on. This is going to be a really interesting cast because Ian is also a real estate agent in Austin. So you're like, Jeremy, why would you bring another real estate agent on? Look, I have amazing people I work with. And so Ian is one of those great people. So we're going to bring him on in a second. So here's how it's going to go. Start dropping in questions now. We'll answer your questions throughout the video. We are going to talk about the differences between North versus South Austin. We're going to talk about pricing differences. We're going to talk about community differences, new build differences, and just the differences to help you figure out where to live. So with that, I am going to bring on my main man, Ian. Ian, welcome to the channel.
Thank you for having me, Jeremy. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic, man. So why it's important I brought Ian on is I personally live in South Austin. Now, I work all over Austin, but as agents, we work all over. Ian lives in North Austin, and he lives, eats, breathes North Austin. I eat, breathe, live South Austin. So we are going to battle and figure out who is the best. Already, we got good questions. Lakeway or Lago Vista, first-time young family. So we're going to get to that one. That's a good one. Dripping Springs or Buda for a first time. Ooh, I like that one even better. Okay, so we already got some good questions rolling here. Ian,
those are both south though.
Yes. Well, Lago Vista.
I guess they're on your channel, right?
Lago Vista is not south.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. So Ian, introduce yourself because I did a poor job. Tell the folks who you are and what you are about.
Hey, everybody. My name is Ian. I go by Ian of Austin everywhere on the internet. I am your second favorite Austin realtor because you're watching on Jeremy's channel. Yeah, like he said, I live north, so I spend most of my time north of the river. And later we'll talk about like what north versus south means. And so, I spend a lot of time north. Jeremy and I both do YouTube together. We both we work together. We're partners on a lot of things. So this is awesome. I think this is a lot of fun. I still think north is better. I'm just going to start out saying that right away, but we'll get through it. We'll talk through it.
All right. So that actually brings us. So we got a good question here. Do you think North or South Austin will gain? That's a great question, and we are actually going to answer that. So Ian, give me your best effort to sell us and the fans why North Austin is not as good as South Austin.
I was like, why North Austin is not? That's a trick question. Okay, so I'm going to start off by saying there is a huge difference in culture. Know that a lot of the like artists and the I got to be careful when I say cool people, but a lot of the artists and stuff, they moved south, right? And then you have a lot of people that move north that as they're building out these suburbs, they built out the train line. There's public transportation. So north ends up having that benefit. It has the lake. Lake Travis is north of the river. So you do have a lot of growth up there. The campus, UT Austin.
Well, to be fair, Lake Travis is kind of, you can't really claim
it's both. It's both.
Yeah, okay. Continue.
It is. I would say that what I've noticed is a lot of the infrastructure that they're building, that they build in Austin proper, they're also building north in the suburbs. I'll give you an example. Jack Allen's, they put a bunch of those north, right? Hop Dottie, very popular hamburger spot. And we're going to get into the food, but a lot of these things that they're building north. I'm not saying they're not building them south. They are building them north. Jobs. Let's look at tech jobs, right? Apple, Amazon, Google, Facebook. They're all north of the river. It's an interesting dynamic. We'll get to traffic. I'm sure we're going to talk about a lot of this stuff because I see all these questions coming in.
Yeah. So so north versus south. I'm going to give you my plug for south. So like Ian said, all the cool kids live south.
You said kids. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. South Austin's definitely a different feel than North Austin. I'll definitely agree with what he said there. I was once joking with somebody, and we had both agreed that the air was better in South Austin. So,
oh my God, that might be right.
Yeah, I think the air quality is definitely better in South Austin. So really, South Austin is a lot slower of a vibe than North Austin. A lot of people leave a big city, and in my opinion, North Austin is more of that kind of bigger city vibe, even though Austin is very small. South Austin's more of that kind of relaxed, if you will, hippie-ish vibe, cool kid vibe, artist in vibe. A lot of really great neighborhoods and communities. I think North Austin, depending on where you go, has some really beautiful and great communities as well. I feel like I just spent 15 days straight in Brushy Creek. So that area, Avery Ranch, gorgeous area. Yes. But if you're looking at south, we have, Dripping Springs. We have, Zilker Park, which is amazing. Zilker Park is literally the lifeblood of Austin. And if you took Zilker Park out of Austin, Austin would not be Austin. Right. So that's technically south. SoCo area is amazing. I mean, the greatest thing to do is, even being a local, doing the tourist things in Austin are always fun. So going down to SoCo, having some, drinks, or grabbing some Joe's coffee, walking around, grabbing some Amy's ice cream, grabbing a slice of pizza. I mean, you can make that whole loop. It's fantastic. Just the vibe is much different. If you go further out into like Buda, Kyle, it's definitely more of a, which is south, the suburbs, is more of a, definitely a country-ish vibe. So way more laid back. North Austin, I don't really think you get that laid back feel until you get maybe to Liberty Hill or Georgetown. And then you start getting that like kind of laid back feel. Plus we have a lot of the hill country things out Dripping Spring wise. So we have, Deep Eddy vodka, Dripping Springs vodka. We have all the distilleries out there, the breweries, the wineries. I mean, you can't get much better than South Austin. Granted, if you live in North Austin, you can come hang out on our side. There's nothing stopping you. There's no, unless we took down the bridges, there's nothing stopping you. So, Ian, you're up. Volley to you, my friend.
Oh my gosh, where to start? So what is our topic right now? Like, do we want to talk food? Do we want to talk?
I want to hear we're battling right now. If you didn't come ready for this battle, I don't know what to tell you. This is
you just jabbed and hooked, and I didn't even have a chance. I'm just listening like, oh yeah, he's got a point. So you are right about Dripping Springs. So when I want to go on vacation, I end up going to Dripping Springs. We were just there a couple weeks ago, specifically it was called a getaway, and it was like a tiny home community, or a tiny home out in the middle of nowhere on top of a mountain. So that's interesting because topography changes north and south. Because you said hill country, right? Hill country, there is a lot south, but also north as well. Georgetown, it's surprising how much topography that has. Lago Vista, someone had mentioned Lago Vista earlier.
There you go.
That is gorgeous topography. So when you start you want some rocks, you want some hills and some views on your homes, you get those all over Austin, all over the west side of 35 of Austin, but both north and south have so many options for you. I think you see more trees south.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Definitely more green south. And this is a good question. I don't mean to cut you off. I want you to keep going, but the Lakeway versus Lago Vista. Lakeway School District is one of the highest rated in Texas, if not Austin area. And so for a new family, young family, the schools there, Serene Hills, that area is phenomenal. I think there's a lot more to do for families in Lakeway versus Lago Vista. There's just not as much built around Lago Vista. So if you're going to north versus south, Lakeway versus Lago Vista, prices are better probably in Lago Vista.
That's it. But that's the key. They don't even have an HEB in Lago Vista.
Right.
right? So they don't even have a big grocery store. It feels very country, but they do have the topography. You still have the lake access, but the prices are so much more, I'll say reasonable, which is relative based on what your price points are, but it is so much more reasonable, especially if you if you want to have that lake access and easy access to other areas north. So it's nice. It's really, really nice. Both areas are nice.
How do you answer this question as far as why there's more development in North Austin?
So I think what happens is the Domain blew up on accident. So that's one of the malls that's north. So it's actually in North Austin proper, and it blew up. And it's a mixed use project where you have really cool stores. You have some of the luxury retail, and then you have some of the regular retail, and then you have in there, I mean, you have like a car dealership, Tesla's in there, then you have apartments on top, and it's kind of like posh and cool, and it's like trying to take the essence of downtown Austin, where 6th Street and Rainey are, and moving that to a mixed-use urban area, but still not feel suburban, right? And kind of like Mueller. You probably heard the term Mueller. Domain, Mueller, those are both really cool spots for the 20 and 30 somethings, right? So if we're going to start getting into demographics, that's where you have a lot of people hanging out that that may just be starting a family or just want to spend time kind of out on the town, which is different than people that want to go and like hike. Now we have that too up north, but you know, South will win. South will win when it comes to like hiking and biking trails and the variety of them. But so, I have a lot of fun up north too, and we'll get into that too.
So to answer this question, I think there's a few different reasons why you see more development north. Again, I think there's a little less area to build south than there is north. There's a little more, the land grab is a little bit more. So that's one reason. The other reason, like you said, that, you know, the buildup around the Domain, people want to live around the Domain, which the Domain's very nice. But tech companies have more space to build up there than they do downtown. Other than if they don't build further south, they're going to be in Buda, Kyle, which they are. Amazon's bringing another facility there in Kyle. There's a lot of actually tech companies starting to build in Buda and Kyle because it is a lot cheaper for them to build in Kyle and Buda. So I think you're going to see a ton more development. I mean, obviously, where was Tesla going to build? They couldn't really go north. They had to go east. So really the development is where there is land available. And I think if you're looking, I'll let Ian add his screen here. There we go.
See, it's funny you say that because Tesla had the choice, and they were eyeing Hutto for a while. I believe it was Hutto. So it was either Hutto or Del Valle, which is really, it is the north and the south. And I think the only distinction between them would be that there was the airport access, which is south. Right. And Elon Musk, you know, founder of Tesla, he also has SpaceX, which is, east. So east, southeast. So he has SpaceX. So to be able to travel to and from Houston, I think that's the only reason it edged out. Only reason. But those are your starter jobs, right? You earlier you said all the cool kids move south. Well, that's your starter jobs. When you go north, you have your executive, your middle management, and your executive jobs at the tech companies. You know,
I have a lot of neighbors. I live Circle C, so I live south.
Yeah,
I have a lot of neighbors that make the trek to the Domain area every day, and they, you know, it's not that bad of a drive. I mean, 30 to 45 minutes, depending on what time of day you're going. So yeah, I know for us, that's a long time, but for people like a lot of our clients, like, oh, I'm used to driving an hour and 15 minutes in traffic. So the traffic going from south to north is way better than going from north to south. So in my opinion, yeah, you heard me. I just threw that dagger straight out there because this is still a battle. Don't go soft on me.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So from Circle C to downtown,
somebody's fainting over here.
So anytime I do a video, it's a wink and a nod to Google. I use the Google headquarters as the main point downtown, and it is faster. It's only like 25 minutes at most to get from my area to downtown. Or that area downtown. If you're going from Round Rock, Pflugerville, you're Round Rock, like it's easily an hour in traffic.
So yes, but if you look at the concentration of jobs, the concentration is actually northern Austin, right? So your Apples of the world, your Dells of the world, those are all northern, right? So to get to Dell is actually in Round Rock. They have a huge campus. Apple is just next to Brushy Creek, which is also, they're building another facility. Amazon's in Pflugerville. So when you're thinking like the actual growth of the area, the Dell Diamond, the Kalahari, and we can go on and on and on up north, the growth because of that and getting to the places where people are actually going to work, I'll say getting to the domain area where Facebook is going to be, right? Or Pflugerville, you're spending about 20 minutes from Round Rock, and Round Rock is some mileage, right?
Yeah, Round Rock's some mileage.
South
and you
Austin,
gotta drive down that horrible freeway called the I-35.
You know, I-35 goes from like Mexico to past Dallas.
Yeah,
so
it's awful. I just didn't go to Lubbock.
There's a lot of traffic on that road.
So I have to push back because you also have Oracle, which is south. It's southeast, but Oracle southeast. Hey, okay. And the F1 track is right next to the airport. So we're winning already.
Open right now. That doesn't count.
Hey, you can still go. I mean,
who doesn't want
to go see Christina Aguilera down at the F1 track? I mean,
you're right. But think about like how many people are actually working there versus how many people are working at Apple or Dell or Google or Facebook.
Well, think about how many people want to take their nice cars from like, I don't know, Westlake and drive out there and go drive around the track.
You are absolutely right.
Westlake
You're absolutely right about that. But we're talking like, where's the school? So weekday activities versus weekend is almost, they have to separate it.
You're right. Okay. Well, let's jump into this. Food. Who's got the better food, north or south? Definitely south. Go ahead.
I'm going to have to disagree. I think it depends on what type of food you're talking about. If you're looking for eclectic food, I think anywhere in Austin proper, especially north, you're going to have a lot of that. So we have a place called Discada, which is a taco truck. It's so good. It's so good. They don't even ask you what you want on the taco. They say, do you want 3, 6, or 9? Those are your choices. Those are your choices. It's incredible. There's a place called Jacoby's, which is north. I mean, it's right on the border just before the river. In fact, I think it's overlooking the river, but it's still north. And that place, you ever walked into a place and you look around and you feel like you're home?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, okay. And then you're worried that the prices are going to be a little out there. And then you're relieved that they're not. And it's farm to table. There's outdoor seating, indoor seating. There's craft beer. There are hundreds of places like that north.
You know what? Okay. The best thing that north has going for it is that they have that taco truck.
Veracruz.
Well, Veracruz is south. We have that. Veracruz is.
Where's the original one?
Well, who cares about that? But we have it down south.
The original one is north. That's who cares about that.
We have some of the best coffee joints, Cosmic Coffee. We have Radio Coffee. Some of the best coffee joints to go to. So, and they all have taco trucks there. So don't try to, persuade the people. We
got Summer Moon, Red Horn Coffee.
We got Summer Moon. Get out of here with that Summer Moon. Summer Moon's great, but I mean, we have it south.
You have Starbucks down south. That's what you have.
Yeah, right. We got some good
coffee place.
It's 78704. There's tons. I mean, Taco Deli, right? Spyglass. You get Taco Deli up there. I get.
Yeah. Taco. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. But
that's the one thing. There are a lot of these places that are branching so quickly because of the growth that they end up putting them north and south. Yeah. South. A couple more north, but generally north and south.
Super Burrito. That was it. Super Burrito is north. I will give you Super Burrito is the best burrito in town. You can't find that. It's a taco truck. It's phenomenal.
You told me about that. I haven't been there yet, but I have been to Bird Biscuit.
Okay.
Have you heard of that place?
Yeah.
Okay. That place. I mean, here's the thing. If you go and you find like the best food according to who's that guy, Guy Fieri or whoever goes around and like eats all the food, I bet I haven't done this, but I bet if you go and count the restaurants, you'll have a larger percentage north. I'm gonna go with like 75-25 north in favor of north. Prohibition Creamery, Bangers sausage.
I think they have all that tech money up there.
In my mouth until I went to Bangers.
But Bangers is barely like Bangers is on the river basically. So I mean, it's range.
No,
You can barely claim it.
And they have like
barely claim it.
130 beer on tap at a sausage place. So it's all craft German sausage and 130 beer on tap. Craft and other.
I don't think you can really claim that for North. I definitely agree that that's a great place, and their mimosa that's just like this big is one, and you're done. I think is the name of the mimosa. It's not, but I'm just kidding. I don't think you can really claim. I mean, I feel like that's on the line, so I'm gonna let that. I'll let you have it, but I can't let you like have it.
I don't have to have it. I took it. What about Franklin Barbecue?
Oh, Valentina's Barbecue in South Austin. Now we're talking the best, hands down.
Who's heard of it? Like people that like you think about it, everybody's heard of Franklin. People stand in line for Franklin's. I'm not saying they don't stand in line for
You're gonna stand in line at Franklin's for 4 hours. Valentina's probably the best in town. You can just order up, boop, walk up, grab your tacos. So Valentina's Tex-Mex Barbecue. Let me explain to you how amazing this place is. Amazing. Every single client that I've ever had come out and go, oh, I want the best barbecue. Oh, I've heard Salt Lick is good. So they go over to the Salt Lick, and I'm like,
no,
hey,
what?
I know, but you go to these forums, all these like Facebook moving
Springs,
dude, all these moving to Austin groups. People are like, oh, Terry Black's is the best.
No,
Salt Lick, right? Thank you. Terry Black's is not the best. Valentina's will blow your mind. Come down, let's go. Make the trip across the river and come down, and I will treat you to some Valentina's barbecue, and I will change your life forever.
I'm going to take you up on that. You know I will.
I know. You're probably the only person that would take me up on that. So Asian restaurants, I don't think in South Austin, I'm gonna have to give this to you just without even like letting you go, because I don't think there's actually a good Asian restaurant that's not commercialized. If you want commercialized Asian, we have some good stuff down south. The non, like the hole in the wall, which is usually the best. I don't know where they are.
Yeah, we have a lot. In fact, I was doing a live earlier with some people, and I was talking about a place called Sushi Cohen, and it sounds, like sushi, a regular place. There's sushi all over the place. In fact, a lot of the really good sushi places are just north and central Austin, still north of the river, and I'm talking world class, right? But this place, what made it so exciting, and it's in Round Rock, so it's a little bit of a hike. It's about 25 minutes from 6th Street. It's called Sushi Cohen. Baked sushi. Baked. So it's still raw fish, really sushi, but it's warm. So it goes down all smooth. It is the best. It's the best darn sushi that I've had in such a long time.
How's the sake? That's the question.
I'm gonna have to say, and this might disappoint some fans. I don't drink sake or beer.
Okay, well,
I know, but I go to all of the. Have you ever done Barks for Beers?
No.
Okay, Barks for Beers is an event that they put on. It's generally in May. It got postponed this year because of this pandemic I heard about. So basically, you go into one of these bars, you get a stamper. You pay like $30. You get a stamper and a cup. You can go to all of the participating bars all around Austin. And it's from like Dripping Springs to Cedar Park, all around Austin to the Oasis on Lake Travis. And each one will stamp your card and give you a free pour of your choice from their place. And it's like a Yeti sized pour. So they give you a good pour. And it's Barks for Beers. So the profit is split with Humane Heroes or something, Pets Alive. Pets Alive, I think is what it is. Yeah. So it's a really cool thing. So I go to that every May, and it gets you to experience the city very, very well. It's the coolest thing. Yeah, I know. Warm sushi. It's like mind blowing. Fusion in Austin. South and north. You want fusion places? That's a good fusion.
Loro, Franklin Barbecue meets Contigo, that restaurant, which is in South Austin. Boom! We just won. Game over.
No, nice. It's good.
Yeah. All right. So let's move along this versus.
Real quick, do you have a Halcyon? Coffee?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's another one. Cenote. Do you have that?
Yeah, we have Cenote down in 04.
Well, we've got 3, so you know that bow.
Wait,
Yeah.
oh, actually, you know what? I don't think we do. It's off 4th Street, so it's the east side. So, yeah, okay. All right. I mean, you're throwing some jabs.
Just a couple of them,
body
I'm
shots.
testing the cheek.
Yeah, you got some body shots. We're good there. All right. So, versus whatever. Events. You can't compare. Well, hold on. Yeah, you can,
It
because
depends on
South
what
by
you're trying to
Southwest.
compare, but I'm going to let you go ahead and tell me some
The
more.
only thing you have is South by Southwest is mainly above the river, but we have ACL, we have the Kite Festival, we have everything that goes on at Zilker Park. We're nailing it. And then MotoGP, we have all the events at Coda. I mean, the only thing you have up there is maybe some sunshine that you got from Dallas and a tornado. So that's it. That's the only events you get from up there.
When do these events take place? On the weekends, right?
On the weekends, yes.
Yeah. So you could still live north, work north during the week.
Cab ride's cheaper. The Uber's cheaper.
And then when you want to go do something on the weekend, you go south and hang out for a little bit.
All right, Esther, we are going to get that's part of where we're going. So yes, we are going to get to favorite neighborhoods. All right, so so far, I want to say it's a semi-draw.
Yeah. But I haven't even started yet.
Oh, well, what else do you got for North? I feel like I was falling asleep over here.
I'm sorry. You know what? Have you ever been to Mount Bunnell? Have you ever heard of that place?
I feel like it's north. If we're going north of the river, it's up there. It's north of the river. Oh, yeah. But we have Hamilton Pool.
You do, but it takes you an hour to get there. And then there's reservations, and so you can't even get in half the time.
You can just sneak in. I mean, I've never done it, but you can do it.
Same Jacob's Well. It's pretty. I mean, it's a pretty hole.
You are making my case.
It's this big. And it's private property. I couldn't fly my drone or anything. Mayfield Park. We've got peacock. We have a peacock park that was free, donated land. You go look at the peacocks. You go to Mozart's, get some coffee over the lake, and then you go check out Mount Bunnell.
Barton Springs pools. So Barton Springs, you can walk all the way through the Greenbelt down there. We have the Veloway
side though.
But
it is. That's on both. But yeah, I park on the north side.
Okay, well, see, you're northeast. See, you park northeast, I park southeast, and then we get there. So there's also the Veloway track, which is in Circle C, the Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center.
Mm-hmm.
We have tons of biking trail. I'm sure there's a bike trail or two up north, but
there are a lot. Brushy Creek is known. Walnut Creek is probably the most popular bike trail in Austin. I'm going to argue that one. I'm going to say it's the most popular one, and it's in North Austin, north of the Domain, even. So where Austin and Pflugerville meet. And the reason why that is so popular is because it has everything. It's not Zilker Park. It's not like that sparse, but you can easily do 15 miles of trails, and there's a varying degree of difficulty. So you have beginners, you have hikers, you have families, you have kids, you have adults, plus you have an actual paved path that will take you to like Burnett, which is hours west. So like you have all these variations just in that one section.
Well, we have the is it the Veloway track? No, Violet Cran Trail, which goes from Buda all the way to downtown, and that's going to be South Austin. All right.
Yeah, but what are you looking at the whole time?
Beautiful
highway and cows.
Beautiful South Austin topography. All right. So let's talk about markets and pricing. Okay. If you wanted to buy in North or South Austin, I have as you start talking, I'll pull up a graphic here, but
sure.
Price wise, is it easier to buy North or is it easier to buy South? I want to hear your opinion.
My opinion is it's relative based on what your purchasing power is, but also where you're willing to travel for work. If you work remote, that's going to change things, I feel. Also, do you need public transportation? Do you want to take a train? So I'll give you an example. I've got a client / friend that I put in a house in Leander. That's north, but he's able to hop on the train, take it downtown, and he gets paid while he's working on the train. it's perfect for him and his family and his situation.
Right.
If you're going to work at Apple or any of these other big corporations, you'll probably want to live north. And if you move south, you're either dealing with traffic or dealing with looking for another job. And there aren't any jobs. I mean, you can work at the Amazon warehouse. Is that what you said? You have an Amazon warehouse down there?
No, I mean, you don't. There's tons of things down south to go work at. I mean, come on. You can ride the bus to get to downtown. That's fine. You'll live.
Would you rather ride a train or a bus? Let's be real.
I mean, it depends. It depends. You know, I think you have more excitement on a bus than you do a train. So
that's because of who's getting on the bus.
So,
and the people like loading their bikes on the bus and stuff. And I'm like, seriously?
So
I got places to be.
So here's a graphic that just dropped for September. 415,000 is the median for Austin. In Austin proper, North Austin proper, not Round Rock, Pflugerville. I have a slide for that I'll bring up.
Sure.
Can you get in Austin North a good property under 415,000? Because you can in South Austin. I've done it. I've seen it. You can do it. It is a challenge. The market moves extremely fast down south. So you're probably going to be putting in an offer over list price. So can you do it north?
It is not easy. And here's why. Because that's where all the jobs are. And still great, highly rated schools according to the greatschools.org, right? According to that, or according to Zillow, you know, they have school ratings and stuff. So we are in a situation where the inventory is super low. And I'll give you an example. We went and looked at a house. Some clients and I went and looked at a house today, and it was in Brushy Creek area, and I'm sorry, Round Rock area, and it was listed for $360. That's reasonable. Not very far from North Austin. But as soon as I want to say the rule is if you were to start at like $500,000 minimum, or what, 400,000 minimum, every 10 miles, you can drop 50,000, or 10 miles or 10 minutes, you can drop like 50,000, and then you'll get to your prices. And then by the time you're in Jarrell, then you're at sub 200,000.
Yeah. Well, so, I mean, if you do move to, okay. So if you are looking outside, because this stat is showing the MSA, which covers Round Rock, Pflugerville,
yes.
355 is doable. You can get under 355 in Southeast Austin and be in a really cool brand new community. Can you get in a really cool brand new community in the MSA? Remember this number, 355, because I'm going to take it off.
You're right now. So I have real numbers. So I'll give you an example. In Cedar Park, I'm going to use that, right? In 2015, you were able to spend $121 a square foot to get a house. So you could spend $200,000, $230,000 or $40,000 in 2015. Today it's $170 a square foot average price.
Yeah.
So that appreciation makes it a little more difficult.
Well, that
it really does. And
that actually goes back where we had a question up here earlier.
That's mine. Okay.
That's right. Yeah. I'm going to pull this question up. Traffic and starting pricing home, which is better? So here's a good question. North versus South, starting pricing home. If you're going to be up north, like Round Rock, Pflugerville, for sure, you can find something under that 355 number. Yeah. Southeast, yes, you can find something. If you go further south, like here, pull up your screen here and go down towards South Austin. South. Okay, stop right there. So see that Menchaca area right there? So that's, is my screen sharing? Can you see this? So that very far south in the middle, where at the bottom it says Menchaca, that area down.
I'm the one that has it up.
Yeah. So that Man Shack area, you can definitely find a great house under 400, and it's in a great area to downtown. So that Menchaca South, well, they call it Man Shack. Somebody's gonna kill me for saying that, but
I do want to point this out though.
Yeah.
You always have to ask yourself why is it cheaper, right? Look at this. Look, if you look around, you had mentioned this earlier. it's not as built out. See how sparse this is?
Yeah, for sure.
Like these are your roads, right? And then this is nothing.
Yep. So
Except
there's
maybe an Amazon plant soon.
yeah, but that's as far south as you really get. But off that Manchac area, South Austin Beer Works, SABG is there. They have some really great breweries, not wineries, but really great bars that have gone in there. What is it? The Moon Tower is down there. So it's really kind of a growing area. So that's one area that if somebody was like, hey, I want to be under 400 in South Austin, I'm like, boom, go there, because you can actually find it. I've actually bought investment properties in that area. And the tax rate's 1.8.
That is something to talk about. We'll get there, though.
Yeah, we'll get there. So the other question that we had was on moving, which one is going to have, I'm losing it. Which one was going to have quicker gain? There you go. Do you think North or South Austin homes will gain equity quicker? Whoa, I'm losing it. I think, honestly, I think there is a lot of development north. I think there's a lot going on south. I think the rental rates are actually higher in South Austin. So from an investment standpoint, I think South Austin's better. I think it doesn't matter whether you go north or south. Me personally, I think you're going to be wherever you're buying in Austin, like the developments are still going in. People are still moving here. In my opinion, I would go south, but I think the overall rates are going to be roughly the same. In fact, I have a chart on my community page. It shows the appreciation numbers. North has appreciated a little more in some areas, but south has appreciated a little more in some areas as well. Any input on that?
So much input. It's funny you say that, because that's actually my next video that'll be on my YouTube channel, is the actual increase from all the cities. I think I only did north. I'm not messing with you. But from all the cities around, and what their increase has been year over year for the last 5 years. So that's my next video that I'll be publishing. So what's interesting is one of the highest increases is Manor.
Yeah, true.
One of the highest increases. So 5 years ago, you could buy a house on average for $100,000. I'm sorry, 100. Hold on, I wrote this down. Yeah, 150. $150,000 in 2015, and today it's $245,000. Wow. Right? We're talking about averages here. So that's an incredible growth, but there's still nothing there, right? They're growing. So like you said, Jeremy, if you're talking about strictly cash flow and strictly investment, that could be a great opportunity. But when you're talking about living and wanting to do stuff around where you live, I think you're going to end up on the other side and north and hang out somewhere closer to like Brushy Creek area. I really do. Or even North Austin, the Domain area. Yeah. That's an excellent spot to still have a single family, because we haven't even talked about the difference between like single family versus condos versus townhomes. But if you want a single family residence, which is what most people I'm working with have, that's a larger percentage of the population, especially when you start getting into families. That in the northwest area has a very, very, very strong growth and appreciation, but also starts at a higher price point, right?
Right.
It seems like east of 35. So as we look here, it seems like east of 35, the price point's actually more reasonable. For example, let's look along 35 here. Crestview, Jollyville, Shoal Creek. Those are all more expensive than jumping over on 35 at the same time. Your median sales price. So like Pflugerville here, you look over by the Greenbelt, by the Samsung. There's nothing out here.
Right.
So your prices are lower because they haven't developed it yet. There is no walkability. I heard you say that earlier. I mean, the communities, the suburbs create master planned walkability style areas, and the appreciation will be there. This is probably one of the fastest growing areas over here east of 35, but that's because they can build unadulterated. There's nothing stopping them from building because there's just land.
So
That's if you want to wait 10 years too.
right. So as far as established suburbs, right? So let's talk about suburbs. What neighborhoods and specific suburbs north do you think number one are best appreciation and maybe good families? Because people have asked questions about families. What suburbs would you pick? And I'll do south.
Okay, I think there are a couple things to consider, and a lot of it is purchasing power, based on purchasing power, right? So you can go into the Anderson Mill area, spend less than $500,000, and I know that might sound like a lot. It depends on what you're looking for. So around the $500,000 mark, and have an incredible home. And when I say incredible, I'm talking 5 bedrooms if you want, or 4 bedrooms with a good size yard, right? As a family, still have schools that are rated high on websites, and you have that demand. So that's one of the areas. For example, the appreciation is really good. Brushy Creek, kind of the same thing.
I agree. I like Brushy Creek a lot.
In fact, the appreciation has been ridiculous because the schools. I think you said Lakeway had the highest school. I almost think that Brushy Creek is higher, but again, this is based on ratings that are, statistics and numbers can be augmented. But as long as you look at some of these websites, they have the highest A rating, like they have the ratings for the schools. So that demand, plus it's a pretty area. That's another thing. We talked about the topography of it. So anything along this Brushy Creek, so Avery Ranch, you might hear that a lot, but you're starting to hit the $500,000 mark. So if you go up just a little bit more, right, like this Highland Homes area, you can get Mayfield Ranch properties for $350,000, $400,000 today.
We just looked at homes for $650,000 in there, though.
You do have the ones that are increasing in price, but that's everywhere. Like this little area here. Where is this at? I just pulled it up. Tonkawa Springs. Love this little area. This one road. Those houses are all $1 million houses.
Oh yeah.
Right. You just never know because you can't get back there unless you're looking for it.
Right. Yeah. There's a couple really good like off the grid places that were like hidden in the middle of nowhere up north and down south that are like, you're like, wow, I was just clicking on my screen a second ago and like one of them was $950. And it's crazy that you'll like come into like pockets where it's like you would drive by it, not know it's there, but they're all like acre and a half lots, like million and a half. Yeah.
Or they back up to a creek or there's something or green space. There's a reason. There's always a reason.
So what else north? Let's see what else north, because I'm about to jump in. I'm about to obliterate you on this one.
You can't obliterate me. Okay, so we talked about Avery Ranch. If we jump over to the other side, we have Forest Creek. You've probably heard of Forest Creek, or Terra Vista is another one.
Terra Vista is nice.
Terra Vista is nice, and the appreciation's good. Now here's where at Forest Creek, same thing. So you can go into Forest Creek. Redbud Acres, that's another one. So you can go in this area and still have the A schools. You still have like the golf course style community, right? So you're paying a little bit in an HOA, but you have multiple pools. You have schools where only the kids from that neighborhood are going to the schools half the time, right? Not only, but mostly. You have a lot of walking trails that are built around it, and it's closer because it's south of Round Rock. So it's close enough to where it's only a 15-minute drive to get to North Austin. If that, as long as traffic isn't ridiculous. And so,
one neighborhood I can't stand in there is Paloma Lake.
I'm going to tell you why you can't stand it too.
Tell me.
So you had mentioned the tax rate in somewhere south and said something like 1.8. The tax rate in Paloma Lake. So when you start getting to East Round Rock, where is that? That's over in this area. So Paloma Lake and the Sienna area. There you go.
Yep, Sienna and Paloma Lake.
The tax rate is like 3.2 to 3.2, depending on where you're at. And this is where people get really upset. I'm going to say it's an unjustified upset, but I'm going to say it first. They're in Round Rock, but the kids are going to Hutto. They're part of the Hutto School District. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. In fact, they're building brand new schools for the area, but but there's something about the zoning and knowing that they're not in a Round Rock school district that people start to get a little.
They're paying Round Rock prices for Hutto schools, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's not a knock on Hutto schools. So people, please don't think that we're knocking Hutto schools, but it's just the same thing as if you're trying to buy in Westlake, right, and be in a $3 million home, but then you're going to a Zilker Park school, which isn't as rated the same. You're paying the same money, right? Or you're paying more. All right, I'm going to jump in here. I'm taking over a screen. I gave you your time. All right.
You didn't give me. You gave me. You said speak, and I was like, oh, let me hurry up and fit in what I can fit in.
Yeah, that's.
I guess that's how.
That's how this works. That's how this battle works.
Okay.
So, all right. So South Austin, right? Best neighborhoods, places to live. Obviously, if you want to be, $2 to $3 million, this Rollingwood, Westlake area, Eanes ISD, probably the best rated, one of the best rated. I think there's like 4 top rated schools. Use your greatschools.org to figure out which ones. Yeah. But this area, I mean, super posh. Zilker, I just put a contract on our property over here in a very expensive home. So you can find, multi-million-dollar homes in this area. You can also find some nicer, not as expensive homes. Oh, I just hit 975. As I say that, everything's over $1 million. What's crazy about this area is I had a client sell a home for $600 not too long ago, and that same floor plan just sold for like $780 a year later, which is nuts. So, all right. So the Zilker area, as you're getting south, a lot of this is really good areas in here, good schools. Circle C, obviously I've talked about it a lot. Circle C is a great area, but one area that nobody talks about as much anymore is Travis Country. The prices have gotten kind of high in here, and I think that's partly why. But I mean, this is a good example. 1,900 square feet, you're paying $630. Like, move further south and you can pay half that and get bigger home. But here's what I really want to show you. So as we get further south and get into Buda, the west side of Buda here has some really great schools. It's a brand new high school if you're going to go Buda. This area is going to be your Sunfield. I'm not a fan. I like Sunfield as a concept, but just like what he was saying a second ago, the tax rate over there is really high. It's 3.17. So that's an issue. But Dripping Springs, let's talk about Dripping Springs. So
let me hear you talk about Dripping Springs.
Let me hear you. I'm going to tell you, Dripping Springs, of what are going to be the top 4 school districts, I think Dripping Springs is highly one of those top 4 school districts, if not top couple. You have
why that is?
Yeah, tell me.
There's nothing there but school. There's nothing else to do over there. Drink or schools.
Hey, you got good schools, so that's important. Dripping Springs is definitely more country feel.
It is.
It's a different lifestyle than living like Circle C per se. Circle C is a little bit closer, but they have out here. They have the Belterra Village Shopping Center, so there's a lot to do there. I mean, okay, at the first one I hover over is 1.2 million, but you can get a nice home like in Belterra under 500, which is great. I mean, pretty much everything out here is going to be over, 500, but you can find some stuff. High Point, which is this area over here, High Point has some beautiful homes. I almost bought a home in there twice. My problem is I work so much north and south that Circle C is just a little bit closer for me, so that's why we stay there. But then you have like this neighborhood. I've actually sold a few homes in here recently, which is why can't I think of it? Is Parton Ranch. There you go. Sorry, I couldn't get it on the tongue fast enough. So I think if you're looking at those areas, some great areas. If you're going to go southeast, you can get a great home southeast and be super close to downtown under 300. I mean, look at that. 260, 275, 265.
What's the travel time?
It's about 30 minutes because you got to get down Slaughter. Easton Park is actually worse.
You want to talk about traffic. You can't say traffic is great down south and then talk about Slaughter in the same breath.
Well, here's the crazy thing is because you got to go down Slaughter, but like if you were to go to this area, which is Sunfield, and jump on the freeway, it's roughly 5 minutes longer virtually than if you lived in Easton Park. Easton Park's in this area. But if you lived down here, it's going to be 30, 35 minutes, and that's in rush hour traffic. So there you go. I think I win. So
no, give it back. Let's give it back for a second. Share my
screen. Okay.
Okay. So I didn't even touch Austin proper north, right? So we have places like Terrytown. If you haven't heard of Terrytown, then
I mean, let's be fair, that's central, but okay.
It's north of the river.
We're gonna claim it. Okay.
Yeah, you're not gonna look, you can't drive across this to get over to Westlake, can you? You can't drive across it.
Hey, look, I swam all the way through college, so I could swim across that river if I need to. In fact, you could walk across the river.
Yeah. So Rosedale, love that area.
I'll give you Rosedale.
Hot.
I have a really good video coming out in Rosedale about the Grove. I filmed it 3 weeks ago. I just have not had time to edit it.
I'm with you, man.
1.3 for an awesome home with killer views up there. Or same neighborhood, you can buy a 2-bedroom for, I think it's like 500. So really great area. Really great area.
Hyde Park.
Okay, I'll give that one to you.
I took it. I'm not asking permission. It's mine. Mueller, again, I'm coming back to this because Mueller is almost like a domain style area. Overrated. The triangle over here, where'd that go? The triangle here is like a domain style area. And I just bring up the domain style because it's so eclectic that you have to call it its own type of area, right? It's walkable. You could ride, you could rollerblade if you want. I recently started getting into that. It's interesting. But Mueller. So let's talk about the Mueller pricing.
I'm not a fan of Mueller for a couple of reasons. I like the concept of Mueller. I think Mueller is great, but I would not personally live in Mueller because it is a super high density area. And that's what I'm saying. The difference between North and South Austin is you have a little bit more space in South Austin, and then you go to Mueller and it's super high density.
It is very high density. You are absolutely right about that.
For the same cost,
the triangle area.
For $500,000, for almost $700,000 in Mueller, you can buy a $700,000 house south and have tons, like a huge house. So that's why I'm not.
Yeah, but you say south. If you jump
Agreed.
Let's go to Pflugerville. You can go to Pflugerville and spend $750,000 and literally have what would be identified as a mansion, right?
I digress. You are correct.
Yeah. So Mueller, you're right. It is very high density, and the houses, you're looking at about 700-800 on average just in that area because people like the walkability, and that's where you have Alamo movie theater, really cool stuff. I even have Colleen's Kitchen as a favorite on here. They do farmers markets. So a lot of these little areas, especially when you're in Austin proper, they have the farmers markets that everybody loves. They have the hike and bike trails, and there's usually water nearby. And so that's what pulls you in. And then when you talk about anything around the campus, right? If you're near UT, you'll do all right. As far as value for the purchase.
Yeah, for sure.
And so we look over here, like over by Bennu and Salty Sal. These are incredible.
Good areas.
And it's important to understand this with Austin proper. You have a lot of people that will take, let's say, this little square of land, knock out all the houses on a row, and then completely rebuild them. And that could be here, that could be here, that could be here. And so when they do that, they're not rebuilding small houses. They're rebuilding, $800,000 houses, and they're in some cases they're combining that lot, this square, and they're calling it a condo. But you're not touching anybody, you're not sharing any walls, but then it's $800,000. And so it's interesting that they're doing those in little pockets here. Yeah. Right. So you have a lot of the numbers that you see there's such a variety based on where you live. You can live in Mueller and find a house that nobody would pay more than $100,000 for, except a developer who's going to buy it, tear it down, dig a hole, put up 2 houses, and then sell each one for $1.3 million.
So here's some good questions that we have coming in here. And it plays right into what we're talking about. So the great questions. Where are the most transplants? So
Austin proper.
You think Austin proper, really?
No, I don't.
Okay, I was going to say, I would say if we're going to look north and south, where people are moving to most, I would say for me, where we're helping clients at the most currently is going to be Dripping Springs, South Austin, like Circle C area, but also south. So it's still Austin, Kyle Buda, and then to there, a lot of people are asking for me, asking about Round Rock, but we don't have really anybody really under contract or been under contract in Round Rock in the last month or so. But Brushy Creek, we've put probably 6 people under contract and bought homes in Brushy Creek in the last less than 90 days. We've had more people buy in Avery Ranch than I can count. And then also Cedar Park, not really Leander. I mean, I've had a lot of people going between Leander and Cedar Park, but I feel like they get to Leander and it's beautiful. Schools are great, but they'd rather be in Cedar Park, which is a little closer. So for you, you're north, so you probably get a lot more people looking north. Where are you seeing people move?
I do. And
I forgot Southeast Austin. I apologize. Southeast Austin, I'm seeing a lot of people move.
I mean, a lot of people are going to forget Southeast Austin. So
yeah,
it's a very touchy subject. And as realtors, like we get in trouble if we say the wrong thing, right? So
yeah, like this question, we can't really answer.
Yeah, we can't really answer.
We can't really answer. I appreciate the question.
It's
but
a good
we can't
question.
really.
Here's what I will say. There are pockets of people that like to congregate together, and what you'll find is here. You know who does a really good market study? People that do a really good market study are stores like I'll say like an Asian market, right? Or a Mexican market, or religious institutions. What did I write down? I wrote, so you have churches, you have synagogues, you have mosques, those types of things. They do studies to determine the population and the ability to thrive. And so if you're ever curious where you can find these cultural sections, then look at those types of areas. So I'll give you an example. I even have it highlighted here.
Let me give you your screen back. Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Nah, it's my fault. I took it off. There you go.
So like this place here is called Yummy Taco. It's
what do I do? I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Hold on.
What did you do?
Let's see. Remove. There we go.
It's called Yummy Tacos, and it is Vietnamese Mexican fusion. What?
Right? I'll try that. I'll come try that.
Oh, it's phenomenal. I love it. And so you come over here, and this is another one that I kind of highlight, and I actually send a lot of people here when they're asking about where to go to shop, and based on their cuisine preference, H Mart. I don't know what the H stands for. Hunan? I could be way off, but it's known as an Asian market in the area, and there's a reason that's put there.
So right? I will say though, if you look at bestplaces.net, it's a source I use to source a lot of information, or bettercitydata.com, I think is what it is. As far as answering as far as answering this question, the great thing about Austin is, from what statistics show and what I see, is that the great thing about Austin is pretty diverse. I've had a lot of people that are moving from all over, and they ask me like, hey, you know, we're this or this, like, how are we going to be here? You know, we came from an area where we were kind of, you know, people didn't like us here. And my standard answer is like, Austin is a very welcoming city. While people think Texas is being this, you know, big red ball, I think you have to understand that the people, especially in Austin, outside of Austin as well, are usually really welcoming people and very sweet. And I think that's one thing I've talked about in my videos religiously, is that I just had I just had a client move into my neighborhood. We found him an off-market property. He moved in my neighborhood, and I met him at the park last night. Like, hey, how are you doing? And he's like, I just can't believe how sweet people are here.
Yes.
And that's a standard answer I get from almost any of my clients. In fact, I put out a video last week or Tuesday, which is what it's like really like moving to Austin during the pandemic. If you haven't watched it, definitely watch it. Everyone was like, I can't believe how amazing the people are. So as far as answering that question, I can't really answer it specifically as far as where to go, but I would definitely say that Austin's definitely a welcoming area. And we are extremely diverse as far as if you look at the numbers, you know, it's actually fairly diverse compared to other cities.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would say, yeah.
I'm not. Where are you? Where? Yeah, yeah. Be careful. Where are you seeing people move from mainly?
You know, it's interesting. Move from?
Yeah, from like what states? Because that was one of the questions I think on here.
Yeah. So you hear a lot of people say, "Oh, you've got everybody coming from California," and there is a large population of people moving from California. But I've actually had a lot of conversations with people from New York, from Florida, from Oregon, from Midwest. So like Michigan, Chicago, those areas. Actually, I have a whole cluster of friends from Chicago that I've personally helped move here. Don't tell. So because that's where I'm from, and it's interesting. I mean, it's almost any large metropolitan area. They look at where they're at, and then they look at Austin, and then they say, "I think I'd rather be there."
Yeah.
I think I'd rather be here. There are a few variations. There are a few like anomalies, right? So I'm going to give you an example. Colorado. There are certain activities that you can do in Colorado that aren't legal here in Austin. And so because of that, right? And so because of that,
I was like, yeah, skiing. We can't ski here. But
and you can't ski. That's actually really important too. The weather, if you're moving from Florida to Austin, you will love the weather. If Florida gets too hot, you will love the weather.
I went to Orlando for a real estate event a year ago, and I couldn't, and it was in the middle of the summer. I couldn't wait to get back to Austin heat.
And I don't want hurricanes. I don't want earthquakes. I mean, those two places, but this is nice and safe in the middle.
Yeah, we get crazy weather.
No snow.
Yeah, no snow.
Right? So that's the other part of it. Some people love snow. I think it's pretty on a postcard.
I love to go to the snow. I don't want to live in the snow.
I'll go ski and then I'll come home and I'll be like, I'm glad I don't live there.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. So, but the largest population of people that are relocating to Austin are actually from other cities in Texas. I think the first three are Houston, San Antonio, and Dallas.
Yep, for sure.
And then it's other places.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I would say a majority of the transplants that I work with right now are currently out of state, but I do get a lot of people call me primarily from Dallas and Houston. I don't blame them from wanting to leave Dallas to Houston. I mean, Austin's way better. I mean, come on. Yeah. It is way better. I mean, we both live here, so, you know, we're biased, but if you told me I had to move to Dallas or Houston,
we both researched. We weren't biased before we came here.
That's true.
You know, I T-charted it. When I was looking at places, I was like, okay, what has better food, weather, job opportunities, all that sort of stuff. And Austin checked almost every list. And the economy is so much more stable because you have not only tech and arts and culture and tech, arts and culture, and, you know, you have oil around here, and you have a lot of people that have the unlimited resources, essentially, that have relocated here and are kind of fueling the industry as well. There's so much.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you told me I had to move and pick another city to live in Texas,
I'm in North Austin.
I'd move to North Austin because it's pretty much Dallas. So,
and you know what? Wouldn't surprise me if you made that leap.
Yeah, you know, so
as you mature.
So I have a lot of clients that reach out. I'm sure you do too, and they're going through the process to figure out what's better, North or South Austin. You know, they are both different, right? There's a river that separates them, and what makes it different is just, I think Austin, in my opinion, North Austin's a little quicker paced, South Austin's a little slower paced. That's really what I see the main difference being. But if I had to move to North versus South Austin, I love Dripping Springs personally. I love the space. As you get older, you want more space. You don't want people looking at you. You don't want your neighbor looking at you through their window, like oh, right. I think Dripping Springs is nice. It's a little more space, but I would definitely move to like Brushy Creek. I think Leander on the golf course there's some beautiful homes overlooking the golf course in Leander, which we didn't really talk about. But I think
because you keep taking up my time.
No, hey, so
it's your channel.
It is my channel.
I know that.
Okay, so I want to show you this real quick. I wish I would have picked a better map, but a lot of people that I'm seeing are moving to Lakeway and Bee Cave as well. And I think both of those areas are phenomenal areas. Realistically, you can buy a house under 700.
I like that hesitation there.
Yeah, it's the price. The price is definitely getting up there, and I think the schools in this district in the Lake Travis ISD are phenomenal. Plus, if you do like Rough Hollow, you have access to the lake, so that's nice. The one thing I kind of caution people on Rough Hollow's taxes are high, but you get access to the lake, and the HOA is like I think $2,400 for the year, so that's a little high. But there's a lot to do in here. There's a lot of shopping. There's a lot of good restaurants. If you go skip over to the north side, the Oasis is right here.
Yeah, Steiner Ranch.
Steiner Ranch is beautiful. So I think there's just so many great spots, and so just anytime somebody asks me where they should move, here I'm going to click on let you have your screen back.
Yeah, I was going to say I've got some friends in, like the Marshall Ford Arena area. Mm-hmm. These are the nice hidden, like there are houses up here that you're driving by and you're like, that's not a house, right? That's a hotel.
Yeah.
But it's a house and it's gorgeous. And that's all along here.
Yeah.
All along here.
Yeah. And that definitely adds to the charm of Austin. This is a great question. Where can I find the least amount of spiders? Definitely south. North Austin's nothing but spiders.
No way. You have black widows south.
I would not discriminate against those kind ladies.
Oh my gosh. They do eat lots of bugs. Yeah. So, and I think, Jeremy, you let me know what you think about this. This is north and south, I think.
Yeah.
Wolf spiders are probably the number 1 spider you're going to see. And wolf spiders don't bother people. They eat bugs. You're good.
Yeah. Wolf spiders are friendly.
But when you start getting into the country areas or the more rural areas like Dripping Springs, then you have a higher probability of running into something you don't like, but you would know that if you move to an area that has more sparse or has more forestation, right? You're going to have boar. That's a thing here.
Yes, we have lots.
You're going to have snakes, rattlesnakes even.
So I will say where I live in South Austin, we back a greenbelt. The one thing that I see the most is scorpions.
See, I've seen one scorpion north. Seriously, north of the river, I've seen one scorpion.
Okay.
What else have you seen?
We do see the occasional snake that rattles. As far as spiders go, in my house, I back a greenbelt. So keep in mind, if you back a greenbelt, you're going to see more wildlife. I have a fox. I have a fox that likes to come hang in my yard. He likes to sit on the, in fact, if I could show a picture, he likes to sit on my backyard furniture. Very friendly fox. I don't know what he says. But there's a ton of wildlife when you live on a greenbelt. If you live further away from the greenbelts and more of like central South Austin or central Austin and not necessarily back in greenbelts, you're probably not going to have as many issues. But I'd always recommend we're on a 3-month spray with our bug guy. So
yes.
So we don't really see a ton of stuff because of our bug guy.
Talk about mowing your grass. In Chicago up north, you were able to mow your grass with your shoes off. I will not take my shoes off here.
No.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Hey, that's why people wear boots, man. Like that's why we have cowboy boots.
I think so.
Right.
Well, and snake and boots. And so it's probably from the snakes and then ants and wolf spiders and stuff. You know,
Well, if you
don't
kick
want
a
to
cactus on accident, I mean,
cactus.
you don't want. I've
It
actually
makes
taken a
sense.
cactus to the foot.
It makes more sense.
Yeah.
But you don't realize it. Round Rock, it's interesting. Round Rock has a whole section called Jackrabbit Trail. I remember I was doing a new construction there, and I was walking the property, and I see this thing jump up and start darting. It's like, da, da, da. I'm like, what is that? I actually thought it was a fox or a dog, but it was moving so fast that it was blurry. Jackrabbit.
Oh, wow.
So like, I'd never seen that before. South though, you know what they have south in the Manchac area? Porcupines.
I've not ever seen a porcupine.
Right. So I've got friends that live in that area, and they said they've seen porcupines crossing their street in their neighborhood. I was like, porcupines in Texas? But then we have peacocks over in Mayfield, that area. Like, we have peacocks running around.
So we gotta keep this guy safe from coyotes is what we have to, because
what is that? Oh, it's a little. I only saw it like at an angle.
Yeah, it's a little malty.
I can't go get mine. She's probably mad. I don't have a puppy. I have a hedgehog.
Oh, okay. Well, hedgehog.
I'm an exotic pet owner, like Joe Exotic, just not as wild.
Yeah. Jeremy, your top 10 Texas bugs video almost made me change my mind.
Oh, that's so funny. That's funny. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you. I'm working on a similar video. It's just going to boost his in the ratings, and that's okay because we're good friends, right?
Yeah. We're good. Here, let me.
Have you heard of Adopt Some Fly?
Oh, let's go this one. There you go. No.
You ever heard of it? You
No.
just pass it to me. Check this out. This thing was on my garage door.
I've seen those. We do have big bugs. Yeah.
They're huge. I mean, if you take a pin, they're as big as a pin. The thing is, they're harmless. They look so intimidating.
Have you seen those? Have you seen that stick bugs that are like this long?
Like buyer's remorse?
Yeah.
I did have that. And I've seen at least 3. And I've been here 5 years, and every time, it gives you that little palpitation. And I'm not scared of a lot of things. I'm scared of bears, Rottweilers, and these things on my face or on my neck. Like, those are the things I'm afraid of.
Yeah, the mosquitoes, I think, are the worst. And I think you're going to have that.
So here's what's interesting about that. Round Rock and Austin Central, right over the lake, both have a very large concentration of bats. So there are almost no mosquitoes in Round Rock as long as you're not sitting up against.
You're not getting bit by a bat?
You're not getting bit by bats? I haven't been bit by a bat. And I've gone to see the bats 100 times.
Oh man, yeah. I hear the bats chirping around, but I've never really seen them like swoop down super low. But I think, yeah, the bats. So people, the bats are not a problem. Please don't. While we do have Austin bats, they like literally fly down the river and head down to like Houston every day, and like go out to the rice fields, and then they fly back. So it's a huge thing.
More than 1 million.
Yes, more than 1 million. Yeah.
Largest in North America, largest bat colony in North America lives right here.
Right under the bridge.
Right under the bridge.
Wrong bridge.
Wrong bridge. Sorry. Here. Right here. And you can even see it in this picture.
Yeah, it looks like a flock of birds flying.
It does, or smoke. You ever seen the movie Fern Gully?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looks like. The smoke. Yeah, that guy. But so the reason why I pointed at 35. Sorry. So the reason why I pointed at 35 is if you go up to where, let's see, where is it? Round Rock, 35 and 45. Man, it seems so far, but it's really not that long of a drive. So like right here in this area, you have the same effect. You have not 1 million bats, maybe 200,000. That's an arbitrary number, but you have them flying from under this bridge. And so because of that, anywhere around here, bats eat the mosquitoes. It's great.
Yeah, that's the mosquitoes during the summer are probably the biggest problem that I have with Austin, because they will literally take your blood and leave you lifeless. So, all right. So let's get the last thing we want to talk about is best new build neighborhoods in north versus south. But I want to hear in the chat section so far, if you're going to move to Austin, some of you said you've moved. Somebody said they moved to Jollyville, which great area.
North.
And then, yep, yes. Alejandro Gill said 279. Yes, it's realistic. You can find stuff 279. Maybe not fake. I would confirm that it's on realtor.com as well, because Zillow can be a little wanky. So realtor.com is probably, while it may not be as user-friendly as Zillow is, but realtor.com is definitely much better information.
Also, can I just say that Austin, the metropolitan area of Austin is huge, right? So like you start looking over here in some of these areas, Steiner Ranch, this is all Austin. They still call a lot of this Austin. So if you see one right on the border of Pflugerville and Austin and where they meet, it could realistically be that price. Yes. And it has an Austin address, but it might have Pflugerville schools, or there might be something else, or it might be out just before Manor, right? Where the average price point is $250. So yes, there are houses that say that and it says Austin, but you have to check on the map where it is compared to where you're going to work. I think that's crucial. Or where you're going to spend your time, most of your time. If most of your time is spent at work, then you want to be able to travel there easily.
Okay, so here we go. I'm going to go first because I've already pulled mine up. I'm going to allow you a moment to pull yours up. Oh, did it pull up on the wrong one? No, I got it here. Oh, it's going to pull up on here. Hold on. You can start looking for your community that you want to highlight to give me your best. So
best? See, that's the thing. It's so subjective.
It's so subjective, but your best new build community.
I'm going off the comments. So I see one that says Leander. So I'm gonna jump into Leander.
Okay. I'm jumping in here and I'm gonna talk about Calaterra. Now, this isn't Dripping Springs, it's a drive. I just had a client actually go under contract in this community over this week. And driving through this community, it made me fall back in love with it. It is a bit of a drive. So if you're going to try to go, look, here's the thing. Everybody right now can work remote. So places like this are definitely a great place to look. But is it going to take forever? Here we go. So this place has if you look in this little picture, they have a coffee shop in the neighborhood. They have a dance hall, like community events area. There's 400 acres of green space. There's a lake. There's a river. You can kayak from it. The schools are Dripping Springs schools, which are highly rated. So it's pretty. Oh, here we go. Free advertisement for Calaterra. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's in my headphones. So you can get in that neighborhood for under 500. I have a client just bought in there under 500. You could go up as high as you want. So I think as far as if people are looking at Dripping Springs, that's a great spot. There are other great communities in Austin and South Austin and in the suburbs, which I would love to tell people about. I have a whole channel dedicated to it. So there you go. I think Calaterra, give it a look, give it a whirl, go through the website, see if it's for you. It is a little bit of a drive. If you like that Dripping Springs vibe, I would have picked Circle C, but the only thing you can buy in Circle C now is an Avania, which is $850K is their prices. So if you don't want to be $850K, great schools, check that direction. Ian, I'm going to give you your screen back, man.
All right, so I'm going to start off by saying one thing that's cool here is when you said Leander, what's great about it, I mentioned it earlier, is that you have a train that goes straight from Leander to 4th Street in downtown Austin. So that's wonderful. We have a couple neighborhoods out in this area. We have a lot of new build neighborhoods, from Morningstar with all sorts of big builders to some of your custom craft builders, such as Carruthers, such as Lennar, DR Horton, Syntex, Pulte. There's so many out there. Scott Felder, there's lots. So Cimarron Hills is one of those where if you just want to go and like check out house candy, that's where you go. That's one of the areas where you go. Okay. So technically it's Georgetown, but Leander's right here. So it's like across the Ronald Reagan right here. But the one I want to highlight that I think is under communicated. And before we go any further, I'm going to say, reach out to Jeremy or myself, obviously, if you're looking to relocate to any of these communities, because just because they're a new build or a new construction doesn't mean you don't want to bring a realtor with you. So I'm going to jump into Santa Rita Ranch. So what makes that special is it is a master plan community where they're building 6,000 home sites.
Santa Rita is nice. It's hard to get there though, isn't it?
It depends, and that's relative. From Circle C, yes.
Okay. No, but isn't it hard to get to, or am I thinking of Santa Rita Ranch, you have to like go way out the back way to get there, right?
Oh, Ronald Reagan. Summerlin's hard to get to.
Okay.
Because look at this. You have to like loop up around, and this is a toll too. So nobody wants to take the toll to get home.
Oh, that's one thing we didn't talk about, the toll roads.
Right. So Santa Rita Ranch, and so master plan community, 6,000 homes. It doesn't even show well on Google Maps, which is terrible. But they have multiple amenity center. They do all sorts of group activities, movies in the park. And it's not even the park, it's at the place. Look, you can see this on their website.
Nice.
They have a ranch house that you could rent out, a gym, multiples of all this. And they're starting to add in like commercial spaces. They have a fire department there. They'll probably add their own police department, all new build community. I've put numbers of families there, and every single person that has moved into this neighborhood has just been blown away with not only the affordability of it, because it's out there, but it's also just the community, the family focused community aspect of it is incredible. But because it's that, they don't allow a lot of investors in there. And that's a problem with a lot of new builds. And Jeremy and I have worked through this.
Yes.
The new builds, especially builders, they're blocking investors just coming in buying because they want families in some situations. So this is one of those areas where it's
they're not that they're wanting families, but they're wanting homeowners.
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. So walking trails, miles of hiking and biking trails, green space, which is very nice. And that's something to talk about in North and South Austin. There's water, there's everything that you could want in both a community, also with topography. And it's kind of the essence of what people are looking for when they think Austin suburbia. Right.
So this is a good question here. Aware Penguin, thank you for all of the comments. And we'll get to that one. But Missy Rue, I want to say, looking Leander area, definitely there's some really good places to live in Leander. Somebody asked in here about Liberty Hill. I'm not as sold on Liberty Hill. Maybe you could sell me on Liberty Hill.
Technically, Jeremy, this is it straddles Leander, Georgetown, and Liberty Hill.
Okay, Santa Rita Ranch.
So a lot of homes that are being built in Santa Rita Ranch are actually in Liberty Hill.
I don't dislike Liberty Hill. I think it's just like what you were just saying. There's not. They're having to bring in fire departments. There's nothing really established there.
They
and
have
that's my only issue with Liberty
to build this community.
Right.
That's one of those things that I don't know that a lot of people that are moving here, that are relocating here, know about. Like there are a lot of communities that are all electric.
Yes.
So for people that like to cook, do your homework, get your realtor. I saw Google Fiber come up a couple times.
Aware Penguin put it in again.
That was seriously in my top 10 list when I relocated to Austin. I will say this. Google Fiber does exist in areas like Terrytown has Google Fiber, Rosewood has Google Fiber. But once you start getting into a lot of the suburbs, it switches, and it's not Google Fiber, but it's still fiber. AT&T offers fiber. Yeah. Grande, Spectrum offers. So they offer 1,000 megabytes, megabits down, which is the equivalent to what you would get with Google Fiber. So there are alternatives, but the official Google Fiber is mostly in concentrated areas of Austin proper north. I don't know about south.
I want to answer.
Treviso is gorgeous. Sorry.
Yeah. So I like Treviso a lot. I think everything in there is really close together now, and especially in their newer sections.
True.
They have a lot of amenities, which is great. That is what I was talking. I was thinking Treviso is harder to get to because you have to go kind of out the back way around Leander to get there. That's my only issue with Treviso is that here you go. He's got Leander right there. It's on the back side of Leander, so you actually have to take this one road to get out there. Is my only issue with it. I would almost say
Treviso. It's like over here, right?
It's almost a no. It's here. Let me. Well, yeah. Go back towards Leander.
It's on the way. It's on the way.
It's on the way to Lago Vista, but it's more on the back right there where you are. It's like right in that area.
There you go.
Yeah. So it's out. It's
here,
but you have to get through the back way to get there. So that's my only thing I don't like about Treviso. But the neighborhood itself, I think you're better off living on the other side in like Grand Mesa. So on the golf course.
It's really important you say that. So let's talk about that. When you go north, you have to pick a side of the lake if you're going to live near the lake.
Yeah.
Right. And so, when you start getting into Lago Vista, you can come over here, but there's no ferry to go across. If you're in Lago Vista, you are in Lago Vista. And to get to Austin, you have to come around and down through Cedar Park. Right. If you're in Lakeway, you still have to go across the river. But it's probably closer from Lakeway to downtown Austin than it is from Lago Vista because you have to go around. Even if there was a straight line, if they build a ferry, this would be great.
If they built a bridge, it would be
or a bridge, but they don't have it yet. So I don't want to tell people that, and they get their hopes up. They might build a zip line. They have zip lines over here. Maybe across.
So I want to answer this question from Where Penguin. I think this is a very, very good question because it's on the topic. Can you also talk about builders that you like or can recommend if it's kosher for realtors? So there are a lot of builders that are good builders, but I don't like. And there are a lot of, gotta be careful. I think there's a lot of really great builders. It depends on the price point you're in. But some of those builders, like I'll say like Lennar, they are not realtor friendly. They don't want you to work with a realtor. They will do everything you can to cut you out. Now, listen, you have the right to representation in Texas. If you don't want to use a realtor, fine. You don't need to. But especially if you're moving out of state and you don't know, this is a free service to you that the builder pays for. The builder pays for the realtor, but they are doing everything they can. Look, the builder and the builder's reps do not represent you. They represent the builder. We represent you. And so I would say like Lennar, they have even higher divisions. They try very hard to have you not use a realtor at all. They
sent an email.
They sent out an email trying to persuade you not to use realtors.
I don't know about you, but I built lots of homes with Lennar.
Lots of homes with Lennar, and they do not
betrayal.
Yes, so I'm not poo-pooing Lennar, but I'm just telling you there are companies. And I'm just giving that as an example. There are companies that will try to persuade you not from using a realtor. And again, you don't want to use a realtor, fine. It is not as easy as a process as people think.
That's so. The key.
And so having somebody there who is on your side and defending you is super important. And so I've had people that have gone out. I have somebody who messaged me that they bought a home with that company and they're having issues and asked me for help. I can't help you. I literally cannot put myself. No,
it's not. It doesn't mean avoid Lennar.
It doesn't mean avoid Lennar. Lennar is one of those companies that they're trying to build very quickly, and they're a production builder, so they're building a lot, and so they will try everything they can do to cut costs. And so that's why it's really important with a company like Lennar, you have somebody on your side, keeping an eye on them. Now there are some really great builders. Scott Felder Homes, I've built a few homes with people with recently. Highland Homes.
Highland, yeah.
Highland's by far, I think, one of my favorites. I have 4 clients building with Highland right now. One closed recently, but a beautiful product. In fact, I almost bought a home recently with Highland because I was thinking about moving from Circle C. So there are some really great builders out there. I would have that conversation with whatever realtor you use, whether it's me, Ian, anybody else. Have that conversation. Mm-hmm. What I mean, and I talked a lot. I'll let you answer the question.
No, I'm just saying that. Yeah, I feel like if they're on your channel and they're listening to us, then they're here for a reason, right? So I agree with everything you've said. Think about it like cars. You can get a Toyota Prius, you can get a Toyota Solaris, you can get a Toyota RAV4. You have all these variations. Builders do the same thing, and there are lots of builders here. So we've talked about Lennar a couple times. You can get a Lennar home that is $160,000 in Gerald.
Yes.
Okay. You can also get a Lennar home that is $800,000 and it has a mother-in-law suite attached to it.
Yeah.
Right. With 5 bedrooms, a loft area, plenty of land. So they have different levels of product and different finishes for each level of product, but they are still a big box builder. And in my opinion, the big box builders, the ones that are high production, high volume builders, where you win is when you have your realtor and the construction managers working well together to oversee the project over the 6 to 10 months that it takes you to build.
Yes.
That's when you win, right? If someone walks into a builder, any builder really, and they assume that they're going to get a good product, they don't get inspections, they don't have a realtor following up and making sure that everything, that's when you get stuff like holes in walls that are covered and nobody ever double checks it. And or 2x4s that are disjointed or off a little. Like there's all sorts of things that people just miss. Mm-hmm. And it's free to have a realtor join with you. So let's talk about other types of builders. So I really like Highland because they actually have design engineers that go in and base it on like family living. It's really strange how they conceptualize their floor plans, but almost every one of their floor plans is functional. And they were the first builder I saw that had the dog washing stations.
Yes, that's cool.
Cool.
That's
Scott
cool.
Builder, they're known, I don't know if they're known for, but what I love about them is they have grand outdoor living spaces that you can include, and they're semi-custom builders. So you can almost say, look, I want this kind of roof. I want all these different options, and you can go, or you can keep it modest. Where some of these other builders, so like Lennar, it's pretty much modest and modest level 2.
Yeah.
So it just there are probably 30 builders that I've built with in the last 2 years, like different builders.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there are a lot of them out there. That's where you ask your realtor. And I mean, there's Ashton Woods. I feel like they have a pretty product, but to me, Ashton Woods is like,
I'm curious to hear what you say next, because I'm pretty sure we're going to say the same thing.
Okay. I'm going to say the words Lululemon, but let me explain. I don't even know if that's not a good equation. I don't want to get myself in trouble. I think that your Nike might be a better comparison. I'm backpedaling. I got to dig myself.
Let me cut you off.
What would you say?
So my issue with Ashton Woods, I think they make a pretty product.
Yes.
I don't think if you don't have a good construction manager, it is a rougher process.
Yes.
So you'll get a nice looking product, but it is a huge headache. And so that's where I know on our end, I can say, dealing with them in the past, we had to really stay on top of them. I had to really stay on top of them, and to get it to close on time, to get what they said they were going to do. And now look, it could have been just that construction manager in that community was my experience with Ashton Woods.
I'm going to tell you, I've had a very bad experience. My clients.
We get it.
Yeah.
We're beating a dead horse now.
Well, I've had very bad experience with LGI homes.
Oh, yes.
Seriously, they have stolen. Like I've had clients that I've brought to them, and they were like, "Yeah, we're not going to pay you because we can't prove that you're the procuring cause." And I was like, "They're my friends. Like, you see pictures with us. What do you mean?"
Yeah.
So, and then what was another one?
Well,
I've had one with Castle Rock. I've almost had litigation with Castle Rock, William Lyon Home. The thing is, they build so many homes that statistically, there's a high probability that the ones that build more homes are going to have more
issues,
people complaining.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say,
people don't complain about people are less likely to tell you what they love. They're more likely to complain.
Yeah. I want to go back to this because Mommy Eating Well. Look, I'm not saying Lennar is bad, but they do what Ian just said. They do try to work a ways around the realtor, and then they try to tell you that you are getting benefit by not using a realtor. The reality is they get benefit out of it. Now,
they have a target market too.
Yeah, but if you do, I mean, even if you're doing it without a realtor, they do make generally a decent product. Not a bad, and I don't want to think that you think that I'm saying they make a bad product. I think they make a decent product, but they do it en masse.
Their target.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Is that a good one?
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say it's fair. But I mean, look, you'll probably be in a very nice community. There's, I know some very nice Lennar communities. I've personally built with Village Builders, which is actually an arm of Lennar, and I gotta admit, I don't like the product. I mean, if we're comparing them to like a Highland Homes, we're comparing them maybe to Ashton Woods, the reps are great. I love the reps. One of the reps is a good friend of mine. I don't like their product as much. I think you have to stay on top of them. Now, I live in a Village Builder home, so I can say that because I live in a Village Builder home. There's issues, but it's going to be the same thing with any builder. So maybe it's just because I have a personal vendetta because I live in a Village Builder home and had issues.
Have you ever built with? So I'm in a Syntex, and it's same thing. I'm like, why would they? We have so many disjointed walls where you can tell that they built with shortcuts, and they were like, let's just put up some drywall. Nobody will know. We'll paint over it. It's fine. Yeah. Have you ever built with Drees?
I have. Well, I haven't built with Drees, but I've had clients build with Drees. I cannot say that I've had issues.
I think they build a phenomenal product. I was actually very impressed. But your minimum price. So like Wolf Ranch in Georgetown, we were talking about that earlier for some clients. Your minimum starting price for a Drees home is $500,000.
Yeah.
In most situations. So
yeah.
But it's beautiful.
Yeah, but there's a lot of great builders. I mean,
there are.
I feel like we kind of poo-pooed on Lennar a little bit, but
that's because they poo-pooed on us first.
Yeah, we're holding a grudge. True. Well, all right, man. We've been at it for an hour and 38 minutes. Remember, I said, well, let's go for an hour. It's an hour and 38 minutes. So let's both give our final pitches to why North or South Austin is the way to go. I'll let you go first because I know you're going to be wrong, but go ahead.
No, see, I think you should. You should go first. That's so funny. Okay, fine. What I will say is, when you're talking about living and spending all of your time during the week, I feel like your best choice is North, because that's where you're going to have a larger surplus of jobs plus culture plus community plus opportunity and affordable living if you start going a little further north, right? But also the hearts of downtown seem to be north. So your 6th and your Rainy Street, if you like that sort of thing, those are north. Your Walnut Creek, I think I had mentioned, that's north. You have your Amazon building, spending $1 billion on a facility. You have Kalahari, America's largest indoor water park, opens November 12th. I already have tickets to go in December. The Dell Diamond Cedar Park or HEB Cedar Park center where they do basketball games, they do ice skating. There is so much to do, especially when you want to get super involved with communities. So I think North is the place that you'll want to be.
Okay. You're wrong. Look, if you want to move to Texas for a slower pace of life, you cannot move to North Austin and get a slower pace of life. It is much faster paced. It's the people aren't as nice up there. I'm just kidding. They're nice.
That's not true.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Fake news.
Fake news.
Wait, look.
Look, South Austin is just a totally different vibe than North Austin. And so I would recommend anybody that's going to come visit both and make your decision, right? Because they are different and they are both different. Both have really great things happening for them. I prefer South because it's closer to the hill countries in Dripping Springs. I love Dripping Springs. All the fun stuff near downtown is in Zilker. I love to go to Zilker. I love when clients say I want to buy in Zilker for a couple of reasons. It's great, and they're usually nice homes, nice price homes. So for all those reasons, while I think North Austin is fantastic, my heart lives in South Austin, and Mommy Eating Well agrees with me. So there you go. Mommy Eating Well, thank you.
Can I have a final rebuttal?
No, but go ahead.
If you're into sports and you like football, UT Austin is north, Texas A&M is south. And I'm not saying you have to like either one, but north has that one. North-ish.
Well, okay, sports, we really don't have sports in Austin. Let's be real. UT, they're not back.
You have the F1 track. The only F1 track in the United States is in South
Austin. Yeah, South Austin. Look, hey, I'll go.
Austin.
I ran into Christian Vettel like the second or third year they opened that. I ran into Christian Vettel the year he won at the W Hotel, like when they did that really fun like big event downtown.
Where's the W?
It's Central
North.
So,
okay,
I mean, we set this up as the border being the river, so you're giving me a lot of not as much topography to work with here. So
I know.
All right, everybody.
You have South.
Ian of Austin, look at his YouTube channel. I appreciate, definitely, if you're going to be looking at Austin, we both have a different vibe, different things going on. So we definitely have some of the same opinion on things and some of the different opinion on things. So I think, if you're going to hire a good realtor, definitely give one of us a call. And look at that. Love you to death, man. Thank you so much for being on the channel. Definitely subscribe to his channel, subscribe to my channel, tell your friends about both of our channels. And, if you're going to move to Austin, come have fun, enjoy the South Austin Valentina's barbecue. It's better than anything north. There you go. Last word.
That's so funny.